Thank you, Mr. Chair. As somebody who, of course, went to college and spent, or will be paying off loans for the rest of my life, college affordability is like one of the more important things to me. One of my concerns is that oftentimes we come in here and we have hearings and then we have policy suggestions that quite frankly just fall short. They fall short of meeting just how big the problem is. They fall short of making considerations for people who are least likely to already have access to wealth, access to, folks in their lives who have gone to college, communities that have already been marginalized in some way. I wonder sometimes why it is that so many other countries have been able to figure out free public education for all of their students from pre-K to higher education, and we just haven't been able to do it. It's not because we don't have the money. We're the wealthiest nation on earth. I think we spend more on the military than the next 7 or 9 countries combined. Is not because we need to invent a wheel. It has already been invented. There are already solutions that exist. Other countries have figured out free higher education without moving courses exclusively online, or making faculty obsolete, or requiring everyone to be a STEM major. Higher education in this country is just going to remain broken also as long as we don't fix those root failures that we continue to inherit generation after generation from pre-K to 12. We can't skip the steps of making sure kids have early access to learning, or of addressing deep inequities in our schools, of actually filling the gaps instead of outsourcing it out to PragerU. How are we going to be more innovative in higher education when we haven't addressed any of these root causes? When we have an administration that devalues the very idea of education and is stripping away poor kids' ability to even go to college in the first place? When our country has been chronically underfunding the institutions serving the largest shares of low-income students and students of color since inception. So, Dr. Del Pilar, how does this chronic underfunding of these institutions of higher education impact their ability to meet the students' needs?
All right, I think underfunding institutions, effectively what happens is they're not able to provide the supports that we've talked about in this hearing that actually lead to graduation. So if you're underfunded as an institution, you can't provide the wraparound supports. You can't provide services like CUNY ASAP. You can't provide access to advisors. You can't provide access to career advising. And so effectively stripping institution of resources does not allow those institutions to then offer the supports that help students be more successful.
Certainly. So instead of actually addressing these issues with solutions we know work, because again, other countries are using them every day. This administration is working tirelessly to make college even less accessible, less affordable, and essentially less successful. At University of Pittsburgh, in my district, I know a lot of folks have been mentioning programs that are successful in their districts. We have a program called the Pell Plus that matches students' Pell Grant funds to make tuition more affordable. But Trump's budget proposed reducing Pell Grants by about 20%. And under the $1 trillion tax cuts for the wealthy that the Republicans passed this past summer, fewer students are going to have access to Pell Grants at all. So this means that lower income students in my district will lose out on funding that would have helped them to pay for college. Or it means that colleges have to find new innovative ways to navigate new loopholes that are created to make things harder for them. This bill is going to devastate higher education access and affordability, especially for the most vulnerable student. It slashes loan limits. It forces students to take an even higher interest rate debts that they won't be able to pay back. So no, not letting us take out loans isn't going to help. The interest rates will simply be higher because they will usually be private loan sharks. It guts consumer protections when for-profit colleges defraud them, and we can't forget how many students rely on SNAP and Medicaid. What will happen to them when those cuts go into effect? Very quickly, Dr. Del Pilar, your organization at first referred to this bill as the Great American Heist. Can you describe how the policies in this bill are moving us even further away from affordability?
I mean, I would argue that many of the provisions in this bill actually make it less affordable for students to attend higher education. We already have an access issue in this country. Less students are going to college today than there were in 2019, and I expect for us to continue to see that move as students decide to take a different path that doesn't involve higher education. We know that 65% of the jobs in this country are going to require higher education. If we're not preparing students in terms of providing them access, and what we're doing is we're not preparing the workforce for the jobs that are being created effectively in this country.
Thank you. And I would simply argue and end by saying that the goal for college affordability affordability is not to push all poor kids into one lane and all wealthy kids into another. We have better options here. I say we can join so many other countries in the world who value educating all of our young people and actually invest in them. I yield back.